Ugh. That's so pale. The original Paper Mario is one of those games I always find myself going back to, no matter how many times I play it. Sure, it doesn't have an out-of-the-box story, nor does it do anything revolutionary gameplay-wise, but what it does have is a childlike charm that keeps you engaged. One of the main ways it achieves this is with its diversity in the game's worlds, or chapters as they're referred to in this game. Each chapter manages to stand out in its own way, but which chapters seem to shine above the rest? So let's cut to the chase. Which chapter will tear up the competition, and which chapter will reveal itself to be straight up shit? I'm Mike Bryse, and in this video, I'm going to be ranking every chapter in Paper Mario from worst to best. So, without further ado, let's rank them up. Number 8, Chapter 4, Trials in the Toy Box. This may be a surprising placement for some, but Chapter 4 is definitely my least favorite chapter in the game. This chapter sees Mario travel inside Shy Guy's toy box, and although the idea of a land full of toys sounds fun, let me tell you, it's not. Yes, the background is fun here, but the way you progress through this area revolves around finding one of many items the Shy Guys have stolen from the Toad Town residents, returning it to them, giving you an item to advance to another station in the toy box, then rinse and repeat. Even though this is the chapter that you get Watt, arguably one of the, if not the best party member, the back and forth nature of this chapter just drags it down and makes it my least favorite in the game. On a positive note, General Guy is a pretty fun boss to fight, and I like how before you can even get your hands on him, you have to take out his loyal and quirky Shy Guy army. Number 7, Chapter 6, Dark Days in Flower Fields. This is the chapter I expect most people to have at the bottom of their lists. Chapter 6, like its name suggests, sees Mario head to the tranquil flower fields. Well, tranquil would be a good description of this area, except some jerk fart cloud called Huff and Puff has created turmoil by covering the world in clouds, thus hiding the sun, meaning that all the flower inhabitants will slowly wither up and die. Damn, Nintendo! You went real dark with this chapter. Chapter 6 has the same back and forth issues that were present in Chapter 4, but to a lesser extent. You don't technically have to leave the chapter at all after starting it to complete it, but there are a lot of backtracking to previously visited areas within the chapter, as the premise of this area is that it's one giant fetch quest. It doesn't help that the area is just plain dreary and depressing thanks to the clouds, and the music doesn't exactly do much for the tone of this chapter either. If you ask me what my favorite part of this chapter was, I'd probably say the boss fight with Huff and Puff. If you don't have the right badges and party members equipped, you might actually find yourself getting a game over here, as old Huffy here doesn't play around. Number 6, Chapter 1, Storming Koopa Bros Fortress. It's your basic first world. Chapter 1 doesn't offer too much of a challenge, but it does give players the opportunity to get familiar with what the game is going to offer. Normally, I would rank a world like this closer to the bottom of the list, but Chapter 1 has some factors that move it up a few spots. To start, not only does Chapter 1 introduce one new party member, but it actually introduces 2. Can we talk about how amazing Bombette is for a moment? She makes every other party member look like a complete joke. The Koopa Bros have to be the boss with the most character. Clearly a reference to everyone's favorite crime-fighting turtles, the Koopa Bros make Chapter 1 that much cooler, and rightfully give it the number 6 spot on my list. Number 5, Chapter 2, The Mystery of Dry Ruins. I'm giving the slight edge to Chapter 2 over Chapter 1, because I think this chapter has more variety. This chapter sees Mario travel to the hot sands of Dry Desert, but before you can even enter the actual desert, Mario must help the Paratroopa postman, Parakarry, find some of his missing letters. Once returned to him, Parakarry becomes the 4th party member, and his ability helps Mario reach the desert. When I was growing up, I actually hated the desert, as it's full of baddies, and if you travel off the beaten path, you may find yourself lost. As I've gotten older, and wiser, I've come to appreciate all the secrets that the desert has to offer. The actual dungeon isn't very long, and I'm okay with that, as the rest of the chapter is long enough. Taunting Koopa is a very interesting boss, I suppose, but in the end, he's just another Koopa boss, and there's plenty of those in the game already. His chain chomp buddy is kinda cute, I guess. Who's a good little chompy? You're a good little chompy! Number 4, Chapter 8, A StarPowered Showdown. It's all come down to this. Chapter 8 is the finale chapter, and it sure doesn't hold anything back. In this chapter, you'll be ascending Bowser's castle, which of course is full of tricks and traps. I like how every party member is required for one or more puzzles, except Goombario. I love how the Koopa Bros make a return, even though it's quickly cut short by that pesky junior Troopa. As epic as this area is, I'm subtracting a few points due to the fact that although the castle is massive, it is the only location in this chapter. The final battle with Bowser is a nice callback to the beginning of the game, but the actual final battle is definitely the best boss fight in the entire game. It starts off slow due to the Peach segment with Kammy Koopa, but after that, it's a straight up epic showdown with the Koopa King. I'm also subtracting a few points due to the fact that after you complete this chapter, that's it. There's no post-game or anything, and essentially you're trapped in this area unless you start a new game. I know that sounds like a stupid reason to subtract points, but meh, this is my list, so I can do whatever I want. Number 3, Chapter 5, Hot Times on Lava Lava Island. Yoshis. Lots and lots of Yoshis. That is all. Number 2. Okay, fine. Chapter 5 has Mario travel to Lava Lava Island in search of the next Star Spirit. I may be a little biased in this chapter's ranking, due to Yoshi being one of my favorite Mario characters, but Chapter 5 also just has a lot going on. For starters, you arrive on the island via a giant tuna, or whale, and throughout the whole chapter, you're accompanied by Colorado, a bumbling yet endearing Koopa explorer. The island is full of Yoshi's Island references, with the enemies you battle, and even Raphael the Raven making a cameo, helping you gain access to Mount Lava Lava, the dungeon of this chapter. The boss is Lava Piranha, and although at first they don't seem too bad, Lava Piranha actually fakes you out after you defeat him and reveals that they have a second phase. There's also a post-boss section with Mario trying to escape the erupting volcano, which I have to say is pretty intense. Chapter 5 is a nice mix of challenge and variety that makes it a joy to play through, and gives it the number 3 spot. Number 2, Chapter 7, A Star Spirit on Ice. Although not as epic as Disney on Ice, Chapter 7 brings Mario to the snowy region of the Mushroom Kingdom. This chapter starts off very intense with the surprising murder of Mayor Penguin, with Mario as the main suspect. Finally, after many years of being told, "Our princess is in another castle!" Mario has snapped, and thus begun his vile, murderous rampage far and wide throughout the Mushroom Kingdom! Oh, wait, he's innocent. Chapter 7 also adds to the lore of the main story, by showing where the Star Children come from, being Starborn Valley. The main dungeon of this area, the Crystal Palace, is an interesting dungeon featuring numerous puzzles revolving around its gimmick, which is everything being mirrored. I find the Crystal King to be cool, pun intended, but the difficulty seems to be almost easier than the previous chapter's boss. Overall, everything about Chapter 7 is just so magical, from the music to the lovable penguins. Except this she can sit on a cactus and rotate. Number 1, Chapter 3, The Invincible Tubba Blubber. If you're a true Paper Mario stan, it should be no surprise to see Chapter 3 at the number 1 spot. Chapter 3 begins with Mario traversing Forever Forest, a giant maze that requires you to choose the correct path that's different from the rest. This will then lead Mario to Boo's mansion, where after completing many puzzles, you'll be introduced to the main story of this area. Basically, some thick Koopa named Tubba Blubber has been going around eating booze and... Wait, what? Eating booze? How exactly does that work? Video game logic! Anyways, the Star Spirit has escaped his clutches and is now in the hands of the Boos. The Boos' leader, Lady Bo, agrees to release the Star Spirit only if you help them defeat Daddy Tubba by finding his weak point. This chapter definitely has one of the more in-depth stories to it, but the thing that really makes this chapter stand out is when Tubba Blubber actually destroys his own castle and chases you down near the end. As a kid, this part of the game always scared the crap out of me, and I'd actually make my brothers beat this part of the game for me as I close my eyes in fear. The boss fight with the heart is interesting, and the fact that once his heart and body are reunited, Tubba Blubber only has 10 HP, which is hilarious. Chapter 3 is chock full of so many memorable moments, which is why I think it's the best chapter in Paper Mario. Do you agree with my rankings? Let me know in the comments below. If you like what you saw here today, be sure to comment, like this video, and subscribe. Plus, press that little bell button to get notified when I upload future videos. Once again, I'm Bryse. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.